Merab Dvalishvili will undoubtedly be the GOAT of the UFC, and after you watch this video, you will agree with me too, because I have 3 clear-cut reasons why he has surpassed the likes of Jon Jones, GSP and Mighty Mouse. I feel like being Georgian gives me a better understanding of why Merab's cardio is so unexplained and why he refuses to lose anymore, and I will reveal those secrets at the end of the video, so keep watching. To begin with, let's define what being a GOAT actually means, because all over social media we have UFC YouTubers rambling about what it means, but no one really gets it. Being the GOAT to me simply means 2 things. First, that no fighter even comes close to you when you are in your prime. And second, how long were you able to dominate? Because some fighters have primes that are simply too short to consider them as GOATs. But there are still caveats to these 2 rules that we will get to later on. Now let's talk about how Merab fulfills these 2 criteria better than any fighter ever. Merab is so dominant right now in the bantamweight division that people don't even know how he can lose. In 2 years, he is absolutely lapping the division, beating multiple champions such as Sean, Cejudo and Petr. And what's even more impressive is that he's beating young, upcoming contenders as well, like Umar. We are seeing Merab in his prime right now, and to me he looks like one of the most dominant champions ever, because if he manages to win against Petr this Saturday, which I definitely think he will have defended his title 4 times in a single calendar year, which is a record that I think will never be broken. The only person I can imagine breaking this record is Merab himself, and that's why in the criteria of how good your prime was, Merab has and will have no contender. But now let's talk about how long Merab has been dominating, and here's a fact that I think a lot of UFC watchers are overlooking. A lot of people use Merab's first 2 fights as a detriment to his career, but if anyone has actually watched those fights, they would know that the first ever UFC loss, when Merab was still a tadpole in the sport, was only a split decision, and the second one, anyone with eyes could tell that Merab won that fight and he didn't get submitted. He was clearly still kicking his legs when the bell rang, and the decision definitely would have gone to Merab. So if we are taking that into consideration, Merab would have a 15-fight win streak going into the Petr fight, and if he wins, he would be coming out with a 16-fight win streak, matching Islam's and Anderson's record. And with his activity, a 16th win wouldn't be out of question, which would even further cement his status as a GOAT. But still, right now, I consider Merab's win streak far superior to Islam's, because Merab's win streak doesn't have a single asterisk on it. He fought fully prepared opponents with no short notice step-ins. He fought champions in his own weight class and contenders in his own weight class. On the other hand, Islam's win streak is full with asterisks. He got a title shot over a win of Bobby Green. He had a super close fight with Volkanovski, who was coming up a weight class, and in their second fight, Volk stepped in on short notice. He also has a short notice win against Renato Moicano, stepping in on 1 day. So in my opinion, if we are talking about the greatest win streaks, Merab has that in the bag too. Now let's talk about the caveats that I mentioned. If we are talking about GOATs, the name of Jon Jones must be heard, but Jones has popped for substances, which in my opinion completely removes him from the GOAT talk. If you guys want, you can talk about him being the greatest mixed martial artist purely on skills, but as a GOAT of the sport, he is disqualified. We also have to mention GSP, who in my opinion was a GOAT of the sport before Merab, because he has avenged all his losses, was extremely dominant, extremely good prime, was able to still whoop ass after taking breaks, was a double champ, extremely good role model for the whole generation, and genuinely just a dope ass dude. But I think Merab's quality and quantity of wins have already surpassed his. Same goes for Mighty Mouse. His career was very dominant, but because of his small size, he got dominated in some of his fights. But as a purely skill-based MMA fighter, he is also up there with Jones. But let's talk about why you all came here. To hear the opinion of a Georgian dude about what makes Merab's cardio and will so unshakable. And I really think it comes down to the heritage factor. People in Georgia are just bred differently. All our country has known for its whole existence is war. That's why there are so many strong athletes coming from Georgia, be it in the UFC, arm wrestling or powerlifting. Georgian genetics are just purely survival based. Even in Merab's interviews, he mentions that growing up, he was always in street fights.
What was your fighting background?
So first I was street fighter.
And street fights in Georgia used to be no joke. Back in the day when Merab was growing up, people used to carry weapons. So if you were not confident in your fight skills, every day could have been your last. The one clip that really solidifies the fact that Merab's will is just unshakable and he will never lose a fight came from the first build-up of the Petr fight. Because many Americans may not know, but in 2008, our country, Georgia, was occupied by Russia, and it continues to this day. So when Merab was scheduled to fight Petr for the first time, it was a huge deal here. But this showed how much of a professional Merab is, because he wasn't bringing the politics into the fight with Petr and was actually being really nice to him. Till Jan decided to call Merab Zero, and that's where it all boiled over in Merab's head. Because in Georgia, every kid grows up with this mindset instilled into them from their parents. Georgia is the greatest nation and Georgian people are God's chosen people. You can think whatever you want on how this affects Georgian people, but it's clear Merab thrives on this mentality, and whenever his country is ridiculed, there is no stopping this man. That's why when he said in the DC interview that he couldn't lose the fight to Petr, and if he did he would kill himself, trust me, every Georgian believed him, and you guys should too. That unshaken will of wanting to represent his country in the best way possible is what drives Merab, and it's why he never backs down from a challenge, because he has a great sense of purpose knowing that his country needs him, and he feels a great sense of pride knowing he is one of Georgia's toughest warriors to ever live. That's why his cardio is so unreal. So tune in, as this Saturday Merab will go out and knock Petr out cold, and by doing that he will become the GOAT of the sport.